Howdy, howdy, y'all. It is another Maharaj chapter. Chapter 51. Be indifferent to pain and pleasure. Um, so, first of all, just want to say, hope y'all, at the time of recording this video, just the new year just happened, so it's beginning of 2024, so hope y'all had a good 2023 and hope y'all's 2024 will go well and or whatever year it happened to may be when you're watching this video in the future. So with that out of the way, so with this conversation, it's one of the longer ones, and also what I found interesting is I think you can. I feel like they don't tell you this in the book, but I feel like this is a conversation he had when he was younger. Because at the very end of the book, they show you this image of him when he was younger. So that to me is kind of an indication that this conversation may have taken place when he was younger. And two, just the way he's talking and everything, he's much more long-winded. He's not long-winded. That's not the way to describe it. But he says a lot more. The way it's just like he's way more articulate and stuff. I don't know. It just to me indicates someone who's like just kind of new to that whole world, this whole world of the I am and whatnot. It sound, you know what I mean? Like it's just the way he converses and stuff. Like he will just he also is just much more personal, which I felt like is something he was probably much more so when he was younger. As he gets older, I think he's much more just like bam bam, much more just fine tuned with it, as opposed to this where he's much more simplistic. I mean, he even says, set your intellect aside. Don't use it in these matters. Why do you talk of action? Are you ever are you acting ever? Some unknown power acts and you imagine that you are acting. You are merely watching what happens without being able to influence it in any way. Just like these sort of little things. I don't know, there's something about it to me definitely feels like it's a younger him. But anyways, more aside from that, what I also found interesting is the person he was talking to. It was a French a French guy who had apparently was been doing yoga in the yogic tradition for at least 10 years at this point, and so had some very interesting kind of compare and contrasts to have, which I kind of disagree with. For example, he says that you see, there is a difference between a Hindu mind and the European mind. The Hindu mind is comparatively simple. The European is a much more complex being. The Hindu is basically sattvic. He does not understand the European's restlessness, his tireless pursuit of what he thinks needs be done, his greater general knowledge. Yeah, no. I mean, at some level, no. I mean, especially calling the Hindu mind simple, that's just rude. Also, definitely not true. I think what it comes down to, it is just the traditions, like the spiritual traditions of like Western world, the Abrahamic faiths and Hindu, Buddhist, Dharmic faiths are just they're approaching things from different. They're approaching it from like a grace versus karma aspect. There's a even though like you never entirely one or the other. Like there's yeah, it's a lot more complex than that. I understand where he's trying to get at. Like it's always simpler for the Hindu just to blank their minds out. I don't know if that's necessarily true either. And even so, and like he kind of misses a point, especially because later on in the conversation, Maharaj really explains like how he says it like, yeah, watch your thoughts as you watch as you watch the street traffic. People come and go. You register without response. It may not be easy in the beginning, but with some practice, you will find that your mind can function on many levels at the same time, and you can be aware of them all. It is only when you have a vested interest in any particular level that your attention gets caught in it, and you black out on other levels. Even then, the work on the blacked out levels goes on outside the field of consciousness. Do not struggle with your memories and thoughts. Try only to include in your field of attention the other more important questions like who am I? How did I happen to be born? What's this universe around me? Where is the real and what is the momentary? No memory will persist. If you lose interest in it, it is the emotional link that persuades the bondage. You are always seeking pleasure, avoiding pain, always after happiness and peace. Don't you see that it is your very search for happiness that makes you feel miserable? And try the other way, indifferent to pain and pleasure, neither asking nor refusing. Give all your attention to the level on which I am is present. Soon you will realize that peace and happiness are in your very nature and is only seeking them through some particular channels that disrupts. And then it keeps going and going and going. And it even says, you yourself are God, the supreme reality. To begin with, trust me, trust the teacher, and it enables you to make the first step. And it keeps going and going. Like, that's a long, like I said, he gets very much more, like these longer, much longer paragraphs of responses and stuff. I mean, there's this one page here, for example, is almost entirely him talking. you know, Other than one moment when the questioner literally asks, "Can I think I am God?" And Maharaj, then which I think he says, "Don't identify yourself with an idea. If you mean," and then he says, "By God, the unknown, then you merely say, I do not know what I am. If you know God as you know yourself, you need to not say it." Yeah, and then best is the simple feeling I am. Dwell on it patiently. Here, patience is wisdom. Don't think of failure. There can be no failure in this undertaking. Yeah, and then so I do like his advice when it comes to dealing with the thoughts because that's as someone like I have autism and all this stuff too. So like my brain is already like hyperactive as is. So I get it. Like I get the struggle of a hyperactive brain and having thoughts going all the time, blah blah blah. And so and I do find because I've kind of done something essential to that extent before in the past that he suggests like you just kind of look at indifference towards your thoughts and you just let them pass through and you're just like you're just a witness to it. I do find that that is the best way to approach it for sure. It's not just trying to fight it because the more our minds are the sort of things you just say don't do this, don't do that. That's exactly what your mind wants to do. If I tell you don't think of a monkey, guess what? That's the first thing you're going to think of. It's a monkey, right? So that's why I say I appreciate where he is coming from in this approach. He is. I think that, and it's hard to do. It is definitely very difficult to do because we attach ourselves with our thoughts, and he even says at some point that we make this flip. We flip it around to where we attach all these things to that are us that really aren't us. How is he? Yeah, it's very much that is very much it. Like we attach like our thoughts aren't us, our minds aren't us. We are beyond all those things. You are more than just a mind, a person, a being. You are the witness to everything, to all of it, at the very end of the day. And that's what he has been doing with all these conversations. And I think he does very eloquently with his conversations. Like I say, this conversation is very eloquent. He's very, he really brings a lot of the stuff out. If anything, yeah, I do understand. I might have had put this chapter in earlier, just so people can kind of maybe get appreciation for him sooner, but maybe it might have been too much for people right away to take in. I'd be kind of curious of why they included this chapter when they did. But it is a very good one. I'd be curious of what everyone else here thinks, especially if you've read this before. Like I say, it's a lot of the same. I mean, at the end of the day, like I say, each of these chapters are a little bit of a right, the hammer and the nail. But this is a good strike. This is a pretty powerful bap. It's one of the more heavy hits on the nail. So, like I say, it's a good chapter. Good chapter in a good book. And I hope I hope you all have an excellent day, an excellent new year. And no matter what year it is for you when you're watching this video, I hope you have a good year. All right. Namaste, y'all. Peace.